Dads are back. Welcome.
Dads are back.
100 Talk. Nice weekend. 2 consecutive banger weekends in a row for 100 Thieves. And I think we're feeling mighty fine.
Feeling mighty fine. Yeah. Feeling great.
Yeah, that's right.
I think this is about where we thought we'd be.
Exactly.
Coming out of last week.
Yep. Everybody but Curly, who had us in 6th place, right? He'll never live it down, but I had to say it since he's in chat. Actually, for real, shout out to the Flight Check boys. They had a big show tonight. So congrats. They had some cool guests and took a good dub against us this weekend, much to our chagrin.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good weekend for FlyQuest. It ended a little bit on a downer. So sorry about that, but we got love. Yeah. Always got love.
My number 2 team got a FlyQuest except when they're beating us.
I don't, they're up there maybe, but CLG 100 Thieves Junior. It's kind of hard. Anyway,
CLG fan pod going. I don't think they have one, if I'm not mistaken. And then our my dedication will truly be split.
There you go.
Yeah, loyalty's tough. But.
Well, this is the 100 Thieves fan pod, so we're ready to talk a bunch of 100 Thieves tonight. First, a shout out and congratulations to the Valorant squad.
Oh my gosh.
For locking in champions. They're going to Worlds, baby.
That's crazy, for one. That's insane. We should probably continue to remind people that we're not the official 100 Thieves podcast. Like, we're just fans. We're not at all officially affiliated with anything having to do with the organization.
We're even better than the official 100 Thieves.
That's right.
If there was one.
Yeah. Well, they've got the whole podcast network now. We're not part of that network. We're not part of that channel.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's fine. That's we're just fans and we like it that way. That's good. It's good to just be fans and hang out with you guys who are also just fans. And some of you are not just fans. Papa Smithy sometimes drops by. He's not just a fan, although he's a big fan.
Big fan.
I love Papa's post win
wisdom
LCS studio tweet.
Oh yeah, where he always posts a picture from the studio.
I love that
and
tweet.
Sums it up in a very fatherly way.
It's great. It speaks to me as a dad. So
yeah.
All right, but I just got to put that out there. Back to you, Cole.
We also, while we're doing housekeeping stuff, big shout out to Rip It Energy Fuel, powering everything we do. I got a G-Force tonight. It's going down.
Power.
And all our love to Elgato for providing our lighting equipment and our streaming capture stuff. Man, I love doing this show. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. I think we're going to focus more on the games than of other stuff, but I cannot be absolutely sure. But I do think that there were some instructive things about these games from the past weekend. Of course, it was Super Week, dropped the first game to FlyQuest, and then got good wins over CLG and Team Liquid. And, headed into playoffs, it's very important to look at what's happening in those games and what state we're in. So got to make sure we do that. And then we have some few general topics as we typically do. And of course, we've got a bunch of listener takes tonight, actually. Listener questions and takes.
Listener takes. Yeah. Our listeners are crushing it at takes.
There's a lot of them. There is a ton of them tonight. So should be a good long show for y'all. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the FlyQuest game. Let's talk about the bad first, right?
Mm-hmm.
The loss. Now, if you watched last week, you'll know that we thought that there was going to be a loss coming at some point this weekend.
We did.
And I didn't personally think it was going to be this one. I thought we had dropped a TL. Do you pick CLG, right? As
CLG for us to drop.
And we need to come up with a name for these end of season losses that we actually like.
Yeah.
But we definitely got it out of this one. It worked out. Yeah, right. It's like like
Summoner Cleanse.
Oh, what's it called? Summoner Cleanse is funny. Oh crap. I'll think of it in a second and I'll make the joke. Yes, but the win going into playoffs, you don't want to just be on this huge hot win streak, right? You want to have that streak broken up so that you can know that there's a vulnerability and shore it up. And then just have the pressure off too of the win streak. So, always nice to get the huge win streak But at the same time, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to be in good mental shape heading in, as well as great game form. So
yeah, I think in general, this is actually, this may sound like copium, Cole. I think this is kind of best case scenario. It was very close to being worst case scenario. So that's the important asterisk to add to that. It could have gone south, like way south, after the FlyQuest loss. Very glad that it didn't. Most dire, Cole, was a moment where I thought, I think I predicted every game wrong. I predicted a win-loss win, and I thought for a hot minute we were going to do loss, win, loss. And then I had to retire after that. There's only one acceptable, outcome there. So
there are those in the chat who may have seen me do the VOD squad where they saw me live through those emotions and during the TL game, thinking that we had lost that game.
That looked like a lost game, but that's, we'll spend some more time talking about that one too. Don't want to skip over the FlyQuest one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. FlyQuest. So can we just agree on something? We played too slow, too early. Right? That's all it is. We just played too slow, too early.
Yeah.
And we had a series of things go just the wrong direction for us. And it was honestly like it was a combination of good plays out of FlyQuest and just unlucky timing.
Yeah.
That's why I think like from how this game started, I think I was primed to be like, okay, look, if we lose, it's just kind of one of those things. It's not, it wasn't like symptomatic of anything. Certainly like very significant or whatever. We didn't have a proactive first 10 minutes, shall we say.
Safe to say. Yeah. This is another one of those games where Flowers was getting real antsy. He does not like the 20 minutes 0-0.
Boring.
He should consider adding that line because I can tell he hates it. He might try to put on a good show of like, this is a cool product. You guys should be really excited about this matchup. Big implications. But he's like, and also I'm falling asleep here. So somebody please do something. It was a slow burn to start for sure.
And it did burn. It did.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Here, I need to fix the production thing. So if you don't mind just continuing to jump into that.
A little floaty.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Here's what I'll say about this game. It was interesting to listen to the cast, right? The cast is actually heavily favored toward us based on composition and draft, etc. And their main criticism of FlyQuest was they have very limited engage, basically the Sejuani ult. And we had a lot. We had a lot of different things we could use in a team fight to just kind of open that sucker up and then win from there. And it felt to me like that was true. And because we never fought, we didn't really have a chance to take advantage of that.
No.
And like Philip was pretty locked in with his Sejuani ults. He had some really good ones. He made them count. And when you are the engaged for the team and they're counting on you to actually start a fight, that's what you have to do. And he did it. So credit to him. And then it's like Takui no engage required if you can double distort onto a backline. Like there is neither. That is both the beginning and the end of the fight. And that is exactly what happened to us. So it's kind of like, look, I think you should give credit.com to FlyQuest.
Oh no, not again.
I'm realizing how much we say credit now that we had that gag the other week. But like they played this well. I think they had a pretty restrictive win con, and I think they actually did a great job of playing to it, which is Philip, don't miss, and Takui, blow people up. And that's what they did, and then the game ended. So
I think like the neutral objective things were pretty telling in this game because it's just not the way you expected to play out, especially with us. Just like skimming my notes here, like, first Rift Herald, they got Herald and got out for free, and we clearly thought we were about to fight. We just couldn't find an engage.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was like, all right, here comes the big fight. We're about to go in, and then it's like you cannot find anything.
Yeah.
You cannot find anything, and it's just no fight, and just everybody walks away. First Dragon, Not ready for it. We had to just forfeit the dragon. And like when we didn't even fight over that, it felt like we didn't really look like ourselves. Now, fortunate for us, because if we would have fought there, I'm not convinced it would have gone that great. They sent 4 to make sure that they locked down that dragon. But it was just weird. It's like, maybe we are out of sorts. I don't know. And then let's see what's next.
We got popped early too.
We did get
or no, wait.
No, that was CLG game. This we had second Herald. There were 4 people in bot. Oh, we dropped Herald they dropped Herald and sent 4 people to bot.
Mm-hmm.
We had Closer Nabadaga covering there, but again, no strong pushback, no deaths, no kills, no punish. Then second Herald came up, and they sent literally like everyone, and we just gave it up without a fight. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how there wasn't a fight there. That's what I was just like, every time I expected us to fight, there was no fight.
Yep.
And it's just not what we're used to, I think. Closer like attempted a gank on Philip. Remember up top where like he TP'd off and then Closer missed the pillar?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oops.
Could have been first blood for us.
We tried.
Yeah. And then Takui was already doing big damage too. So like I had a note about how much damage he did to Closer's Trundle. At 1830, he put one of those little LeBlanc combos in and it took half Trundle health. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they made a big deal about how tanky Closer can get if he subjugates the Sejuani. While the Sejuani's passive armor thing is procced. Like that's a pretty, if you're not doing that, you're subjugating LeBlanc. It's like there's not a lot of other great options. So, if Philip isn't just presenting the buff to you, it's like, and you are super squishy. And it felt like that a lot. It felt like Closer was just getting completely bullied through most of this game. Like, didn't really get to do much playing wise.
Yeah. And then the fateful exchange happened, right? Where someday in Philip, someday almost gets killed. Jose Deodo shows up at the right time, like always. Takes first blood. That was like 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Abadaga almost killing Takui.
Yeah.
And then Abba doesn't flash that wall because he figures he's going to be dead no matter what.
Yep.
And gets polymorphed. And our history with polymorphs and making sure we don't get away from things. And suddenly, in a matter of just minutes, it was like almost 5K gold deficit.
Yeah.
Everything happened at the exact wrong timing for us. 5K down.
Yeah.
Third Drake goes over them. No contest. Right? They take tier 2 bot turret. 5th turret of the game for them. They're up 6K. And it's just 2-0 kill wise. It was so weird, right?
Yeah. It kind of felt like one of those games where you make a mistake and then you lose, right? Like we get caught once and then so many things just started to kind of snowball out of control. And before we knew it, we were making a stand at our Nexus turrets. It's like, whoa, all right.
Right. And the thing is, if that happens in scrims, they like just end the game basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If something like that happens, it's like, okay, cool. Little mistake, but bad timing, game's over. We don't even care. But we didn't sit back. Okay, that's the point I want to make about this. We started off, our first 20 minutes were very forgettable. We were too slow, too relaxed about things.
Yeah.
Too passive. And when we got far enough behind that, it was incredibly unlikely for us to win the game, but we still punched back. Yep. And that's why this was, as good of a loss as you can have, right? Mm-hmm. So again, if this is a scrim, you end it under normal circumstances. But we're forced to stay in it. Can FF on the LCS stage that I'm aware of.
Sometimes it seems like teams do effectively. But yeah.
We had, for instance, really good base defense to stop their what could have been a final push in. And then on the way out, we said, hey, I bet we could take this Baron.
Right.
And we took that Baron. We fought hard. We made it complicated for them. We stalled out the game. What was it? It was a 40-minute game, right? Something like that. I don't know
the exact timing. Yeah. we added a good amount to it for sure.
Yeah, it was like here, let me pull up. Yeah, 39-51. So 40-minute game, we stalled it out. We actually reduced the gold lead ever so slightly along the way too. We had it down to a little under 4K. And then, we do that thing where we give them the Baron, Takui finds a flank, pops Abadaga, FBI, everything's cleaned up, and that's game.
That's game.
But the point is, we fought back. We punched back. We woke up halfway through the game. And I like that. I like going down, but fighting on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And that set us up for an interesting weekend. So FlyQuest game, I don't know. Here, let me go back to our rundown. I'm not even looking at a rundown right now.
It basically covers it, like we made it interesting and close. I think if we had tracked Takui better, and like I don't think we had a pretty good team fighting comp, right? Front to back. We didn't have a lot of answers for Takui. Like we didn't have a lot of hard CC ways to lock him down. And he's really good. That dude's really good. So, like you can try to get him with a Gnar ult or a stun or something like that and then blow him up. But we were occupied with the rest of the team. So, I mean, there's a version of that game where we play that fight differently, where we have a heightened sensitivity to where Takui is, or where we don't know that he is. Because he really did. He absolutely devastated both FBI and Abadaga in one moment. And then that was the game. So if you're going to lose a game like that, I think it's much, much better to lose it at a Baron fight that's closely contested than
just kind of like 40 minutes into the game. Yeah.
Laying down in your base while they destroy it. I agree.
And, elephant in the room too. Abadaga had a weird couple of games this weekend too. It didn't go well for him against FlyQuest. Yeah. I didn't think it was disastrously bad, but it wasn't good. And even the CLG game was a little rough on Abadaga. So I think we talked about how that piece of it has affected the team where it's like, if he's popping off, we're virtually invincible in the LCS. Yeah. So, it's still possible for us to cover and win without him popping off. We've done it many, many times before, but not always, right? It's like one of the bigger wild cards we have, though. He has been since those first 2 or 3 weeks, he's been very consistent, but he did have an interesting up and down weekend here. So I did want to mention that because it was the same story against CLG. Are you good to go against CLG?
Yeah.
No?
Yep.
Okay. Because look, make no mistake, that Palafox clapped him in lane. I think I'm gonna call the spade a spade. Palafox really looked strong against him in lane. He was playing super aggro on him, burning out the potions early.
Yep.
And then again, just an early punch that we didn't really anticipate, I don't think. So do you want to how early was that first blood and second blood? It was 3 minutes into the game or something.
It was very early. Yeah. The highlight video I watched didn't even have it in there, which is weird. But it was so early
their algorithm didn't pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was early. They picked it up. And this game was wild. I think it was just it was a bot lane kill, right? Again, I didn't get to watch it in the highlights, but they picked it up bot lane. Is that right?
Yeah. So it was in the jungle basically. They came in and contested red buff, and then Closer stayed on Krugs, but Poom had snuck out of lane into jungle.
Yeah.
And so Contracts and Poom were able to turn again after already pushing him off a red buff. Right. They came into Krugs and killed him off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was it Poom? I think, or maybe Contracts. Contracts moved over and cleaned up Abadaga, who had roamed.
Yeah.
As well. So 2-0 Contracts instantly.
Yeah, he started off 2-0 with 4 CS, I feel like.
Yeah. Not exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game was interesting to me. The Seraphine is one where he definitely didn't look comfortable, Abadaga. And Palafox has been good. Like that dude has definitely stepped up as well. I think he's been a big part of why they're relatable. They've got a much stronger performing team now. I do feel like he's showing up differently than he was at the start of kind of this CLG roster. But yeah, he owned him in mid. There's no question. The Seraphine Azir matchup was not friendly to us. It was interesting listening to Abadaga afterwards say that, like, hey, I'll be ready next time. Next time.
What did he say? Something about circumstances? Where he was like, it was a weird week or something because of circumstances. Yeah. I don't know.
I never listen to those post-fight interviews too closely. I find them pretty uncomfortable myself. It's just always weird to me. I don't know.
I like when Closer does them.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I just think it's a kind of an awkward time, especially if, like, hey, I got pretty roughed up in lane. Let me go ahead and give you a quick interview about how that went. And after that, I'll go explain it to my team and my coach. This will be a great couple hours I've got ahead of me. Yeah, like here's how I felt about this game. This game was so easy for us to lose because we had just come off the FlyQuest game. Like, probably felt like we should have had them beaten just looking at draft, right? For all the reasons the casters highlighted. Like, they were probably pretty confident going into that. Didn't work. We fought back, didn't win. You go into CLG and they hit you in the face immediately. Like, there's not really an easier game to get down on yourself on and kind of check out of, right? If you don't have strong mental. Like, a fed Jarvan is so frustrating to play against. He just blows people up. He's flying around, jumping on people. It sucks. Especially Contract's super aggro jungler. So the fact that he ended the game
frothing at the mouth, yeah.
Still, my favorite jungle emote is the Mad Dog. By the way, that one's so good.
Yeah.
It fits perfectly for the jungle position. But, like, he ended the game with 3 kills. He started with 2. He basically started.
He played the whole game with 2 kills.
Yeah. So the fact that we were able to neutralize it, and then just, like, we were down pretty soundly and fought our way back. And that's
But here's the thing.
Exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, here's the thing. It was like we were ready to try and hit back. First of all, Hui and FBI tried to answer on Poom with those kills, like, immediately and almost got him. It was, like, really close. That would have gone a long way, I feel like. Someday was slamming his lane early. It was a very large CS lead very quickly. You saw Hui actually, like, roaming to mid to help Abadaga, like, reset the lane and then move on to Herald, which locked down the Herald for us. We made sure that, we felt we were at a deficit. So we sent all 5 for the Dragon and took that and landed, like, equalizing fight afterwards, right? Afterwards, we get a kill on Poom and Contracts. So that immediately put us back up 500 gold, once we had that first Dragon fight. So what a swing. Is like the team, like, remember early when we just, like, sat back and didn't do enough yesterday against FlyQuest? We're down. Let's not do that again. Let's go make some things happen, And they actually did. And that put us in a strong enough position where, even the second Herald fight, they didn't even want to fight us for it. And it was like, we were just moving around and making sure we stayed active and not letting, that situation get out of control. This was, another Sivir bot lane that we had to worry about.
Yep.
With, the potential for that to get out of hand too with kills early. And we did not, like, let the game slip away. So I don't know. CLG is the team that always fights, always scraps, does weird things. I don't know if you saw that, like, fight around the 3rd Drake, I think it was, where Closer had this really great engage, but we weren't quite close enough to follow up with the damage. And maybe our guys weren't, like, power spiking quite enough for it yet. So the fight is close, but we actually gave over 2 for 1. And then they TP'd to kill Abadaga and, like, TP'd again to kill Someday, I think it was. So it was like double TP at different times. Crowd was loving it. Crowd was super into it, And that's especially when that second teleport came out.
Yeah.
And it was pretty wild because they, we had that 2K gold lead after what happened early. They basically evened it out off of that play. So it was like we almost found a way to give it back.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing about this team, it's that we don't seem to be stressed by any situation anymore. We just don't seem to be bothered. And you know what I mean? Because it's like, first of all, you responded and got a huge gold lead off of a really disastrous early game. Then you kind of give that away and it doesn't matter too. You're like, yeah, cool. I'm still going to do my thing here and make sure we win this game. Huhi especially doing a lot of great work on he doing Leona this game, right?
Yeah, it was Leona this game.
Finding really good ults. He set up like a 3-kill plus dragon play for us. I think we had like 3-for-1s in a row or something.
Yeah, he was hurting. Leona. It was painful for them.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. I was interrupting you.
That.
We also snuck the Baron. Yep. We found a Baron sneak. That's not really our thing either.
Yeah,
but yoinked it, and that was basically game, right?
Yeah.
So
it was the thing that for me is kind of consistent across all these games is we actually found pretty shocking ways to win fights that we really had no business winning. Like down players, down significant amounts of gold. Just like generally behind. So that's great to see. And I feel like that's really hard to pull off. And I think it speaks to what you're talking about, which is even if the odds are against us, I think we do a great job of continuing to find ways to even them and then like create opportunities to get back into a game. That felt like the consistent theme across all of these games.
Yeah. Plus, I think we're kind of a blood in the water team also, where it's like when we smell the opportunity, like we jump on it really quick. Like, I don't know if you remember the Immortals game. Do you remember where it's like it was like very kind of like tense, close game.
Yeah.
And we played it out very patiently, found one like big play in their jungle and ended the game at like 27 minutes or 28 minutes or whatever, which had been like a very tense affair up into that point. And this was kind of the same thing because first of all, we snuck the Baron. And then when we went to push Baron and bot side, we saw Palafox up at top.
Yeah.
Trying to split push.
He's racing us to the base.
Being a little silly. Gonna call that the Palafool split push. And we're just like, okay, cool, game.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Yeah. Okay, your mid laner's gone while we're pushing in bot with Baron. Bet. And we ended the game right there. You know what I mean? Like I like that our shot selection is good, if you will.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought this was a really nice win to build off of. The upstart CLG that everybody, it's like if EG is the favorite team right now for a lot of people, CLG is favorite team B, right?
Yeah. Right.
And everybody's rooting for them, and they've had a great split, and they've turned it all around, and then we step on them still.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
we got C9, favorite team D.
What are we? Favorite team G?
I mean, Cole, Immortals is doing some cool stuff these days. You gotta love them. You gotta love what they're trying to do.
I'll tell you, those Dignitas boys, they should really get Huni back.
The way they sell their players is just so exciting.
No,
I think we're favorite team E.
E. Okay. I'll take it. The fifth option. Let's go.
Yeah. We're the ones that's like, hey, and 100 Thieves qualifies for Worlds. And they're like, are you sure that Cloud9 isn't what you meant to say? Are they busy? Could they go?
So to me, like, I don't know if anybody else sees this like connection like I do between these games, but it just felt like we learned from some of what went wrong in FlyQuest. Didn't worry too much about it. Found a way to fix it despite things just not going right early against CLG. And got another controlled victory over a team that, is respectable but should be beaten by us. Okay. So I think I classify that as a very strong win, especially coming off of FlyQuest.
He's good too. They're legit.
Yeah,
good.
they're pretty good. And the perfect stepping stone into the Team Liquid game.
Oh yes, this was a game.
Where do we start with this? Now, again, chat knows, some of you guys that watched VOD Squad saw me take in this game for the first time, and they saw me watch the draft, and they saw me panic about it. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at their bans. Yumi, I can go either way on Yumi, who he had a great game on it, who he lost on it, right?
Yeah.
I can go either way. Ari ban, dang. Abadaga is an Ari menace. Aphelios, love that comfort pick for FBI. All gone first round, right? TL picks Azir. One of our best picks for mid lane and very strong. I know people are like being like, oh, now it's going to be nerfed and it's not as strong as it was or whatever. I think it takes some time for that to happen. Azir's still like scaling beast, right? And Sivir, second pick for them. Okay, another like kind of same situation here. And meanwhile, we're locking in Seraphine, which we played mid, and it was like, oh, that was not good or great.
Yeah. That was not the pick that I was most excited about from that game.
Yeah. Then we lock in Wukong, which, give me Wukong. Closer Wukong. Love it.
Love it.
Senna. And it's like, Senna's one of the, it's not how I like FBI playing the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, oh gosh, we got Seraphine in mid. We got Senna in bot. They've got Azir and Sivir. They're just going to fry us, right?
Yeah. Their team fight output is insane.
We got next round of bans. They take away some daddy's picks. They could take away Ornn. They take away Fiora. It's like, okay, well, we weren't going to carry through bot lane, so now we can't carry through top either. They did leave up Gwen, though, so that's what's up.
Yep.
And then the Talia mid comes out, and it's like, Abadaga's Talia game was not super convincing when we saw it, So it's like, once Talia came out, I was like, oh, okay, so Seraphine's bot with Senna. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't like this. They've got what appears to be like a very like just solid comp, a lot of damage, a lot of engage. Core JJ on a Moo, like, I just did not like what we did. I don't think I've ever been more wrong about a draft than I was on this. This game was just the most massive draft diff I've seen in a long time. This was crazy. I did not expect it to go this way.
At what point did you realize that it was a draft diff and not a draft suicide? Because that's what it felt like up through a certain point in the game. Right?
Oh, I wish I had notes for this game, but since I VOD squatted it, I didn't actually like take my in-game notes or whatever.
You don't have to get specific, but like
I think it was that point, you're like, I think it was that fight around our red buff. Yeah. Where I think like I can't remember exactly what happened. I think Bjergsen came up. They got like a kill maybe, and then we got a kill and started to turn. Core JJ kind of I think got baited forward with the Moo bandages and then got popped and I was kind of like, actually I think I might have even done this in the VOD squad. I might have stopped and been like, where did all that damage come from? Because I couldn't figure it out, and it was the Seraphine, right? And I like couldn't see it. And so I was really confused as to how it turned. And I think I stopped the VOD and like rewound and went back. I can't really remember. I'd have to look. But but then I realized it was Seraphine. I was like, oh. And then, chat's pointing out like the healing of like Senna and Seraphine.
Right.
And all this stuff. And I'm like, oh.
Ooh, okay.
Oh. And like
a champ like Seraphine is where I appreciate so much that who he is a mid laner.
Yeah, right.
Also.
Right.
Like being able to, he's like, please farm, collect my farm. My spells, which usually do nothing, are actually devastating people. This is great. Thank you for the opportunity. I will take advantage of it. And you have to have the right kind of support player to really do that. And you can tell this is second nature for him.
My man had a pop-off game.
Yeah, he did.
It was really, really good. I am not sure. Did he not get player of the game for that? I feel like he didn't, but I thought he deserved it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember
Abadaga's
actually.
Talia like was not super good at first, and then he really like grew into it. And his
Yep.
ults got really good, and his damage was good and everything. So his stat line like looks incredible at the end. He was 7-1-7. I didn't think he was like that
Nice.
much of the difference maker. So yeah, they're saying he did get player of the game. Good.
Chat confirms.
Yeah, because he deserved it, despite Talia 7-1-7, FBI Senna 6-2-15. Like, you know,
some good stat lines across the board.
Player of the game was given by people who actually watched the game for once. So who he pop off, it looked great. Proved me totally wrong about that champ. And now you have to worry about where we put it when we draft it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You have to worry about whether we're gonna pair it with Senna, right? Do you have potential to like, you know, not have a bannable pick unless you want to spend 2 bans? You know, it's like, what do? You know, it's another way to draft checkmate people. It is good. Now, interesting part of this game for me was the caster heel turn that was happening. Now, did you watch with commentary on?
Yeah, like I listened to the cast.
Yeah. I know you and I both sometimes will listen to it like without sound at, you know, different times. Right. They were very excited to support Team Liquid early. It seemed like they were very much enjoying this Team Liquid game. Team Liquid had a 5,000 gold lead. And it was built like kind of slowly, so it looked like not fluky, right? Like gradual build up to 20 minutes, I think was the peak gold. It was like 5K, you know?
Yeah.
And like you could just hear it in Azale's voice, especially. He was like loving it. And then we start winning every single exchange that happens. Yeah. And the draft diff starts like really becoming apparent. Abadaga's ults are cleaned up and they look really, really smart and really, really good. By the way, who he damage wise? Let me see. Who he did 27,000 damage, just under 27,000 damage on the Seraphine. Highest was actually over to Hans Sama with 32. Wow. But 27 put in from Huhi on that was the second highest damage total in the game, you know?
Wow.
And we just were winning everything. And the casters, like, they switched sides. It was pretty exciting. I don't know about you, but like I get irritated when I hear like the crowd into the other side or like the casters into the other side. I'm like, come on.
For sure.
Let's not get too excited about this one. You know? And then just absolutely had the heel turn when we started popping off, and we were basically invincible at that point. So
Yep.
That was supremely enjoyable. And I'm glad it happened because, as I mentioned before, I felt like for the most part, like I didn't hear any like criticism of 100 Thieves after this weekend, despite the FlyQuest loss. It was like everybody's pretty cool with how this weekend played out for us and recognizing us as like deserving of where we are right now. So
yeah, secured second.
Happy to see that.
That's a huge win. And it didn't feel at all fluky. Like we've every once in a while, like there's no, I didn't check a lot after this. I don't think anybody was saying that TL threw this game, right? Like, oh, they had a lead. How did they give it away? Like we ripped it back from them. There was no throw. This was a forced fumble. And I mean, the things that jumped out to me. You remember the last time Abadaga played Talia? I think you even played. Should we be playing it?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's right. Should we play this? Yeah. And I mentioned that earlier. It was like, it was not that convincing.
Yeah. And I felt like, I think I was especially like, yeah, I like the idea of us playing it, but this execution isn't it. This execution was it. There were multiple objective fights where TL was excused from the fight, right?
Hans Sama especially was confused from the fight.
Yeah. And it was magical. Like the wall lasted a long time and we got objectives down to like 2K health. So TL's window was like 1 second and then it's in smite range. And I thought it was one of the best examples of this is Core actually flashes the wall at one point.
Because he's like, I gotta do something.
I'm going in. He flashes in. He actually lands a great combo. But the setup is just too good. And like we were able to, I can't remember exactly how that fight unfolded, but they didn't win it.
Yeah.
it just, it felt like either we opened a fight with a Seraphine charm that hit 2 people, and so they spent a little bit of time walking toward us like dummies, and then they would get rooted, and then they would get popped up in the air, and then
Dude,
they would get rooted. It's just like,
Santorin ate so much CC. It was disgusting. Santorin was like, he got caught by one piece of CC. He's like not playing the game for 40 seconds because it's like 10 seconds plus your death time.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, 10 seconds of CC chain. No, it was awesome. And this for me feels like a completely different look from us. Again, I'll keep saying that. It is a really cool draft to be able to play, right? Because especially with the little mind game that Abadaga played, he said, if Bjergsen takes a Zir tomorrow, I'll have Seraphine ready for him. And we lock in the Seraphine. I'm like, I guess we're gonna see.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward, like, I guess we're not gonna see. It's gonna be different.
Mind gamed him.
Yeah, honestly, maybe he did.
JC says, rumor has it Santorin is still in the studio waiting to gain control of his character.
That's really good. That is very funny. That's very funny. Yeah.
You pointed to
honestly,
a few specific plays too. Did you want to run through some of those?
Yeah. So you've coined the Powerful split push. I've got the Bjergsen shame shuffle where he does the flash, Azir, Shurima shuffle, and just he got one. He was going for 3. He got 1, and then he just got.
I think if I remember right, it like somehow like sent him up straight in the air. It felt like he didn't actually get pushed back by it, but it was just like straight up. It like looked weird to me.
The pixel perfect, it does the math on it, and it's like going
straight up, baby. Let's go.
No, I think it pushed him. It didn't push him to anything close to being like in the middle of the team, where he was vulnerable. So it just made him a little bit closer to land his autos or whatever. But that one actually, like, that was a pretty big deal. I call that out not because I take great joy in Bjergsen like making a silly play, but this is something I've noticed. Like Abadaga's Seraphine game, there was one point where Freak did like a play-by-play, a cast-by-cast breakdown of a fight he was in where he missed things. And you've brought it up before, like how influential the casters are and how people think about games. So I guarantee you, people left that game thinking Abadaga is trash at Seraphine. He can't hit his skill shots. Like this does become a thing for players where it's like, or like there are a lot of very famous Tristana jumps. And that becomes what defines people, or like a weird Lucian play. Like, so like remember he missed an ability on a cannon last season, I think it was the last split. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And it was like all anybody wanted to talk about for a long time. It's like, okay, thank you for this is a really important analysis of this player's ability. He missed a skill shot and a cannon. So I bring this up because even Bjergsen can make a goofy play like this. And I don't think it doesn't like define his legacy in the same way that it shouldn't be all we spend our time talking about for other players who also have like games where they're off, So I saw that, and that was actually a pretty influential play.
Yeah, it was.
It led to us getting another kill onto Bwipo, who tried to come bail him out, and then a Drake, right?
Yep.
And this is when I think we're down pretty significantly. So maybe it was an objective bounty even, but like we're starting to chip away.
And hey, who knows? Maybe we got helped out by the Abadaga Seraphine and the narration of what was happening too, because then it let us bait them into thinking that was what's going to happen. So he just pilots the Seraphine for us and makes them pay.
Turns out it's less vulnerable in the mid lane or in support than it is in mid.
Yeah.
Another one was Someday. He had another unbelievable. Like this TP play was on the level of
my goodness,
the Camille hookshot TP play,
kind of on perks, yeah,
where he's coming in a pretty exposed position, and they pour it all on him. I think it's at the very least a core JJ ult that he immunes, but you could tell like they saw that and they're like, okay, here's our pick. This is how we win the fight, and he comes in, instantly immunes, instantly dashes, and the fight is basically over. It was such an important play, showed up in 0 of the stat lines, but Like this is the quintessential someday play. It's like this dude knows so much about this game. His game sense is unparalleled. He's just so reliably good in moments like this, where it's like, and now they can't take this fight.
Yeah.
And here we are. Like, and here we're gonna pick him apart. So I
Yeah.
thought that was an amazing play.
His immune, just like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll eat 8 of your abilities, immune it with my 1,
Yeah.
and now we win.
Yeah. And now and now you've lost basically many of your critical team fight cooldowns. I mean, Core was hitting a lot, especially early. Like every bandage it felt like was landing, and he'd hit big
Dude,
multi-mana
oh my
hits.
gosh, those skill shots were disgusting.
Yeah, I'm like, the dude is still just as cracked as he's ever been.
Yeah.
But we gave him a pretty tough task throughout that game. He ended up with a pretty tough stat line. And I think the last one that I thought of was just there's actually 2. One of them is it's like my observation about this game is it felt like it's at different times in this game there's a different player popping off.
Yeah.
And this is so FBI I thought had probably the best Senna game that I feel like I've seen him play.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times I have a similar reaction to you when he locks in Senna, which is like, I mean, I doubt that he's going to be as influential in this game as he would otherwise be. But there
Right.
were a lot of fights where his range was just insane, and he was hitting people who were trying to run away. He was hitting from so far away.
It's like Bwipo just pops out of nowhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's because of the Senate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. He landed like the chains and the auto at the same time, hit him for like probably close to 1,000 damage burst. Just beautiful. So like he came online at a certain point in that game, and it just got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't think we can lose this. We have too much damage coming from too many different places. And all of these guys are locked in, so this is looking really good for us. Someday had an unbelievable chase down. This is around Baron Pit.
On Bwipo?
Bjergsen gets a good wall, and Someday it looked like he did Captain Jack.
Oh, with the dash?
As soon as the wall comes up, he gets pushed back and then immediately dashes over and snips at the end of his dash.
Yeah.
So it's like Bjergsen has probably 100 HP left. And honestly, before the soldiers even finish their dash, it looks like Someday is dashing over to snip him in the face. And then he just chases down the rest of the team. So it's like everybody, and closers Wukong, multiple pop-ups. The last one that I'll talk about is at the Elder fight, where it was a crazy chaotic fight. It was basically like 3 fights in one. But I went back and watched it. They didn't even mention on the cast because there was too much happening. You couldn't talk about 3 different fights at one time.
Yeah.
Someday he realizes they call this out. He realizes he gets good damage on Bwipo.
Yeah.
And then he chases him down and solo kills him. And then he gets his GA and he kills him again. It's just like, that is the perfect end of this fight. Bwipo's only contribution in this fight was
was to run.
Someday. Yeah, wasting Sunday's time with a double solo kill.
I don't think the second one was solo, right? Didn't he? FBI came over, I think.
I don't know.
I think at the end of it,
know.
I would need to watch it back, but
it was close.
But yeah, it was very. Someday did basically all the work for sure.
Yeah, and like he was still super squishy on the Gwen. Like it wasn't a Someday takes over the game, but everybody was contributing exactly what they needed to make it so that by the end it felt like we had completely taken over.
We just got to a place of really high composure, and really high team coordination, really high composure. We've heard it talked about how clean our comms are, compared to other teams. It just seems like the whole keeping this roster together for a long time idea has really paid off big. Because
agreed.
We've got a bunch of really skilled players, and they get along really well and complement each other really well, and are able to cover for each other if anybody has like a little bit of off game, It's like, it's a beautiful relationship going on with this team. So it's like, and hey, we're sitting in second place. We're not first place.
No.
But why do I feel so confident still?
Yeah.
Because don't you feel like when we move into series, like teams are in more trouble against us and not less?
Yeah, for sure.
We just draft diffed the mess out of TL. You know what I mean? How many like drafts are you going to have against us to neutralize us?
I feel like we have so many looks right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't our draft book feel
like we've got some definite like repeatable strengths, and then we've got some definite like complications to things. We've got enough that you are going to be second guessing yourself the entire time you're drafting against us, and we've got like Reapered and the mystique of Reapered behind it anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like you already had to worry just like looking at the guy, back there making the draft decisions. So man, we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. And a big win like that over TL is just what we needed to finish this thing off. Give us the momentum. Keep our mental owning of TL firmly in view of everyone. And like you said, I didn't hear people talking about the throw. That's right. We took it from him. So
yeah, we really did.
We've gotten used to winning these things. So speaking of winning, let's move on to some general stuff. And I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you had to rank, I hope you hadn't seen the notes for this. If you have, then sorry, and just tell me so I don't do this. But if you had to guess what the top 3 teams for total win-loss record over the last 3 splits would be, could you do it? Like, what would you say?
For us?
No, for the LCS. So the 3 teams, like how would they rank for the team with the most wins, second most wins, third most wins over the last 3 splits? So that's the Abadaga era for us.
Yeah. At the end of the split.
Regular season. So taking regular season, summer 2021, regular season, spring 2022, regular season, summer 2022. Mm-hmm. Tally up the win-loss records for everybody on that. What are the rankings?
Boy, I bet are we first? No. Are we? I bet we're first.
So you think we're first? What's second?
Second would be TL.
Okay. And who's third?
Third is EG with their crazy summer. Because I know they had a spring that was much closer, like 500.
Yeah, you did better than I did. Okay. First of all, yes, 100 Thieves is the winningest franchise over the last 3 splits. Remember that summer 2021, there were actually 27 games in the split. We did a triple round robin. So our overall win-loss is 44-19 over those 3 splits, which is very, very good.
Crazy good.
In second place is EG at 42-21. So I had forgotten how well they did in summer 2021. They went 18-9 in summer 2021, and that was completely like forgotten by me.
Yeah,
because I remember in spring they were 9-9. It was like, okay, whatever.
Who was on that squad? Who was even? I guess I was like the mid was Jizuke and yeah. So right, that era, I didn't know I couldn't remember that they were that good. And then of course 15-3 from this split. Yeah, congratulations to them. And then Team Liquid in third place at 41-22. So they went 15-12 that summer 2021. I remember that being like a weird split for them. Then they went 14-4 spring and 12-6 summer. So pretty good, but not better than the Thieves. I actually would have thought C9 would have been in that EG spot. Because remember, they went 13-5 in spring, but their summer 2021 was actually 15-12. Mm-hmm. And
then just throwing it out there for the sake of discussion, TSM's win-loss total is 29-34. So the gist of this is that for the last year and a half, 100 Thieves has been the most winning team of all the LCS franchises. So
you wouldn't know it.
You surely wouldn't hear that talked about. Yeah. I'm waiting for that stat to make it to someone's desk. We've actually won the most, everybody.
They keep shredding
for a while
it
now.
Up on their desk, shred it again.
You hear the dive like in the background. What's that noise? But congratulations to you for doing better than I did. Because I definitely forgot that EG was in that spot over C9.
That was a fun minigame.
And I mean, look, that's speaking LCS. Special shout out, off topic shout out to the LA Thieves, world champion CDL, and to Valorant, who looks crispy right now, frying, making it to Worlds and looking like they're going to be the top representative, in my opinion. So winning is the culture of 100 Thieves. Like I'm tired of that not being known. Like, please, can this be the year where people start treating us like we win all the time?
It's getting harder and harder to be the ones who are holding on to that belief, you know?
Yeah, right.
Are we gonna, maybe could you start doing some listener takes? I let my dog outside really quick.
Okay, yeah, sure. I can do that.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. I do want to talk. Okay, yeah, go ahead. All right, so I'll start running through some of these listener takes. Well, actually, you know what? Why say goodbye to Jordan when we can say hello to Jordan? There we go. This is like the Jordan, like, Mom, can we have Jordan? We have Jordan at home. Jordan at home. There's the meme right there. Okay, let me run a couple of these. So BH Phillips 907 said 15-3 EG is the most stable, consistent team in the world. 14-400 T is a coin flip away from a roster rebuild. Somehow both of these things are true. Said in jest, making fun of how we are talked about in the scene by some fans and some pundits, right? One loss of difference, yet the level of criticism is a little bit different. I thought it was interesting. So this made me laugh. I mean, it's not really like a take, right? But it made me laugh. It brings up the fact that, on the JLXP today, we always have to have a JLXP segment. So Darkuth, close your ear holes, because I know you don't want to hear this. But Emily Rand said that on the desk this year, they've been hypercritical of 100 Thieves. So finally, they came out and said it, at least. I mean, I do feel like it's shifted over the past 2 weeks or so, which is nice, but it sucks to have to take that long to get there, especially, as I said, having won the most games over the last 3 splits of any team. So that is a thing. So anyway, B. Phillips, that made me laugh a lot. Thank you for that. Crockpot he already doubled down on his take. So if he's redoubling down, this is quadrupling down on his take. I wanted to give a special shout out to Crockpot, who said, I said it before and I'll say it again. 0 loss, playoffs incoming, Worlds soon. So with all the boldness in his heart, predicting the 0 loss playoff run, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? We don't even have to play that many series since we got a first round bye. Oh, it looks like Jordan is back, so we will excuse 8K Jordan.
Oh, nice.
And there we are. I made a joke about Jordan at home, Mom says we have Jordan at home.
That picture's great. At some point we'll make that into an NFT. Once NFTs become acceptable again.
Once they catch on,
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not really in favor right now. We'll wait.
So I ran through just a couple of takes that are not really like discussion takes, but just kind of like funny takes or whatever. So
cool.
If you don't mind, I actually want to rewind back out of takes.
Yeah.
And talk about one final thing.
For sure.
And it's this. So we've completed the regular season, which means that all LCS voting is going to happen, right? Or has happened at this point. And we have to reveal that. So I was wondering where you think our players would land in this. So if you go position by position, where would you rank them? Not what you think will end up happening, but where would you rank them? Position by position, all LCS. And you can just say what their position is in the top 3, or they're not in the top 3. You don't have to tell me like, I think he's 5th or anything.
Yeah, right. All right. So Someday is 1.
Someday is 1. We agree. Someday is 1. He has to be 1.
Yeah.
Only person in contention is maybe Bwipo, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he's done enough. I don't think he's done enough. Someday has been without blemish for 100 Thieves this year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and Marp's calling this out because this was his question. Yeah, so I think
So we're still.
he says he asked it a little different way. He said which of the 100 Thieves players, if any, deserve a spot on first team All Pro.
Got it.
And he said someday in Who He Are clear stats for him. So yeah, I guess this is kind of listener take territory too, but I want to run the full gamut. So
yeah, we're gonna expand on Marp's great take.
Yeah. Good stuff, Marp. So yeah, someday has to be first, right?
Yes, I agree.
What's the argument here? Like, actually, you know what? Peter Dunn tweeted out his ballot, which obviously he can't vote for EG players. So there's that. But let me see if I can find this really quick if you want to keep.
Yeah. So someday is one. He's first team for me.
Yeah, he had someday, then Bwipo, then Dokla. And I actually don't hate that ranking at all. Dokla's been pretty legit, surprising me because I definitely discredited him at the beginning.
For sure. But what about Fudge? Anyway, so that's a name I recognize, Cole.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Okay, so closer.
All right, closer is I'm gonna say second team.
To Inspired.
Yeah. Well, MVP Inspired.
I begrudgingly agree.
Yeah, we haven't brought that up, but this weekend sealed it. Like he is the MVP. Congratulations in advance. I'd say he's. I don't think
he had one very good, very, very, very good game, and then two fine games.
And that's honestly all it took.
But they decided after week 3, so who cares, right?
Yeah. And it was my position was if someday absolutely takes over these games and we finish with like the best, a perfect second round robin record and all this stuff, then I think
and Inspired had to have like a bad weekend too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it had to be more than just not a good weekend. He had to have a bad weekend.
Right.
And he did. So
congrats to Inspired. I think closer's behind him.
Yep. Okay. Abadaga.
Yeah.
Does he make All Pro?
He's been the person who's been more in the MVP conversation than probably anyone else other than Inspired of late. Everybody's like, he's just playing amazingly. So I think he is. So I think Takui's in there. I think it'll be interesting to see if Jensen is in there. You don't think so?
No, definitely not.
He's got a lot of pogs. He's got like
Bjergsen would be over Jensen, I think.
Yeah, so I don't think Abadaga is, to be honest.
I've got him in third.
You've got JoJo as well.
JoJo's not top 3 either.
People like
JoJo, but at the same time, JoJo he's had a fine split. Stats wise, he's right in the middle of everything, right?
Yep.
So I think it's probably, I don't know. I could maybe be convinced either way. I think maybe it's Takui, Bjergsen, Abadaga. Maybe Bjergsen, Takui, Abadaga. Something like that.
I think you're underappreciating how much people like Jensen as a man.
Well, the question is not what we think is going to happen, but where we would rank these people.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. So, I mean, I would still, I think I would put him third. I'll put him third.
I think I have him third. FBI.
That is a competition's pretty intense in ADC this year, I feel like.
Yes.
Split. But he's really good. So I would put him. See, I haven't watched enough of the other teams to really say. I would put him in. I would put him for sure. I'll tell you where I want to put him. You can tell me why I'm wrong. I'll put him first team.
I love this.
Yeah.
Who would be your next two?
Yes. I'm going to go. I think Johnson has earned himself a lot of appreciation and notice, more so than I think people expected to have for him. Luger, I know, is somebody that people have really admired. Danny is perennially in the conversation.
Danny been frying though.
Yeah, that's it.
Danny's been frying though. So for me personally, I think I would probably just off the split he's had, because I honestly, I think FBI had a very good second half of the split. Like, I don't know. I thought he was much more like assertive in everything, even the Senate game, right? Better than we were expecting. So I would probably have Berserker, Danny, FBI, then Luger.
Han Sama is one that we've not mentioned. That
Team Liquid, I don't know, man. I probably am not giving enough credit to Team Liquid, like their whole bot lane, basically, because I haven't been that high on how they've played. So I know I'm maybe that's slightly disrespectful and fan blind spot or whatever, but it is what
probably
it is.
First is too high, but the case there, like, I don't think FBI has looked bad at any point. Really?
Right.
Like maybe there's a couple games.
Yeah, I think he had a game or two that were off, but he was very solid, and then he started getting very good. Like I think he ramped up. But Berserker has been like just a difference maker for sure at times for C9. Yeah. And he's being dragged down by Sven support, by the way, which is maybe my hot take. And then Danny's always a monster. So, all right, that brings us to Huhi.
Yeah.
Where do you have Huhi? Do you have him on your All-Pro ballot?
Yeah, he's on there for sure. It's just a question of how high. Again, I'm gonna put him in first.
I'm gonna put him in first too. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I've been loving him this split. I think this is one of his best splits for us, for sure. Top 2, and so.
I think I have Huhi, then Core, then Vulcan.
Oh, I meant to say Sven to troll you, but I accidentally said what you actually put.
Never. Huhi has been like the least credit getting support. He has been so freaking solid. I don't know. Core JJ, super baller, right? Always good. But again, just hasn't I don't know. They have not gotten the results I expected them to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Huhi is not going to, maybe he'll get like third, but I think he's got to be up there.
He's been so
He's got to be up there. I don't think Vulcan or Core have outplayed him, to be honest. Like on the totality of the split. Core sure landed a lot of bandages on him this weekend. I'll say that, but yeah, we'll see. So I don't think he's going to end up there. Yeah, right. I don't think he's going to end up in that spot, but I would have him first, and maybe that's again my fanboyish take on it. But honestly, look closely. This dude's been going off. So, all right, we're mostly in somewhat of an agreement, right?
Yeah, I think. I feel like you've convinced me that yours are probably closely aligned to what a realistic outcome is. It'll be interesting to see where things land.
Yeah, but I just want to point out, all of us we have all of them in All Pro at some level.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
what was it? Was summer? We got 4 out of 5 guys there, right?
And we had one where we were most of first team.
It had to be that year.
Yeah, that was great. That felt fun.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I know it's not going to shake out that way, but we shall see what the results are. Okay, so that was a long answer to Marp, I guess. So there you go, Marp. Okay. Let's go to. I love this take actually from our boy Derek Klassen at QB Class, who says maybe still premature, but if Thieves make the finals, Closer is already a top 5 NA jungler ever. What are you thinking about that?
I mean, they just did these lists, right? Have they released? They've released the jungler one.
The jungler list is
on there. Yeah.
No, he's not. It's Santorin in 5th, Meteos in 4th, Svenskeren in 3rd, Blabber in second, and Xmithy in first. So that would mean, according to Derek here, that he gets in over Santorian or Meteos or both.
Based on the conversation on Meteos, I think the one that's more likely is Santorin for sure. Like I think these are interesting lists because it's definitely like it's an accumulated body of work, and Meteos's career is too long for you to jump him quickly. So like I think you jump 5, and then much more time passes, and you jump 4. That's an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, I do feel like again we're biased towards 2018 on just because that's what we've been watching.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's been really good. I don't think we would see people saying it yet. I don't think it would be.
Yeah, I think that take is there early, but it's still right. Like I think like so he makes finals, and then he probably won't actually get the recognition unless he makes another finals. But like I think it's actually correct. Yeah. So, but that's just me. Honestly, like I feel weird about Sven Skiren. I know I wasn't here for like the TSM days or whatever, Sven Skiren, but it's just like, remember he's like splitting time with Blabber, and it's like, it's hard to be like, yeah, this dude is like one of the best 5 ever when he was like splitting starting time at one of his peaks. Right. Which I mean, given it's Blabber's super good, whatever, but not really this split. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying. Okay. Chandler Grote says Super Week is hard. Everyone has the same amount of time to prep for an extra team. Seems like FlyQuest slipped through the cracks this week as we had 3 good teams to prep for. Glad/sad for the bye, as I love watching these boys play. So I get glad for the result, sad that he doesn't get another series to watch, maybe. I'm not sad about that. I don't want to watch this heart attack anything.
Yeah. I'll take the bye for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's probably a little true. I think we probably prepped for them the least out of the 3 if I had to make a guess, but it's like, who knows? Who knows what they actually did? I think like FlyQuest has that kind of weird kryptonite-ish feel for us in the way that Dignitas had it last split. But I think like, well, we'll talk about the playoffs in a little bit, so I won't actually get into that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it feels less important to me because at this point you need to be able to not prepare much for the worst team you're going to play in a weekend and beat them. It's kind of like that feels like an important test, and I guess you could say we didn't pass it. But there was enough there where I feel like we didn't just get completely blown out like we talked about earlier. So it doesn't give me an alarm. But we weren't the most dominant second round robin team ever because we couldn't, right? We couldn't manage to that. We had a pretty tough super weekend for sure, without a question.
Yep. Okay. Nick Moore says warm take. Inspired winning MVP over Someday would be egregious egregious than Summits. Both should be runners up to Tukey anyways, he says. Man dragged his team to 6th win. Man dragged his team to 6th with Philip in the top lane. So a little secondary take on Tukey. Tukui's he's good. Like he's very good. I hope he gets some credit. Yeah, he's a likable guy. But the first part of the take, Inspire winning MVP over Someday is less egregious than Summit winning MVP. I love this. I agree.
Yeah, I fully agree.
I fully agree because with Summit, it was like the wheels totally fell off.
Yeah.
Because they just like teams just played into him after we did our thing. And Inspired at least is still like maintaining like, control over the games, and having some standout games. Like I said, good vibe game, bro. Good vibe game, bro.
Yeah, it felt much more like people like Inspired just feels a much more consistent high performer, right?
Yeah.
Like he with Summit, it honestly felt more like people just kind of hit the snooze button so long on dealing with him that he accumulated an MVP level split. And then we realized like, oh yeah, you can just, go through top. And that was the end of his career in the LCS.
Yeah. Oh, we should have talked about this earlier. Sorry. Sotenax says, I think we will get snubbed in MVP and All Pro, and everyone will regret it by the end of playoffs like last summer. I think LCS would benefit from making a playoff MVP and making it a bigger deal, i.e. a trophy and big announcement at the end of finals like in COD. So they do have, because COD does have playoffs MVP instead of like finals MVP, right?
Yeah.
And
is that what Kenny got?
Kenny got postseason MVP.
Playoffs. Postseason, okay. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, first of all, I agree with that portion of it. It would be kind of cool to have a postseason play because the postseason is kind of long. You know what I mean? Like it feels like there's a lot of games played. So by the end of the postseason, it does feel like the NBA Finals when they're like gonna award MVP to a player who is like eliminated in round 1 or something like that. You know, it just feels really goofy. And if they had playoffs MVP, it's like Closer would be, taking home his second trophy this year probably.
Right. It does feel to me like that award feels a lot like it tips to be popped for playoffs. It's like, well, you won, and so who are we to say that somebody on a losing team had a better playoffs than you? Like it feels like it's going to be somebody on the winning team, which is probably appropriate given that's kind of the point of playoffs. But,
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Joelito suggests secure worlds.
A suggestion, not a take.
Yeah. Secure worlds and throw. Save the good juju for worlds. He doesn't want to use up that good juju. He doesn't want to use up the aura. I like this. He's saying just, lock in worlds. Don't worry about the rest.
Yeah. Kind of
phone in the rest and just save it up. Supercharged for worlds. I like it too. There's too much time in between those two events.
Take a big vacation right before that. It's the championship aura thing is faltering lately in a way that we're all happy about.
Yeah, we're just too good.
We're too good. Yeah.
We have become too good. League of Fantasy Legends pod asked, how broken is Seraphine? You think we'll see more of her through playoffs? In my opinion, the only reason she doesn't play more is because she's boring.
Yes.
Interesting, right? I think, is she on deck for a nerf or has been nerfed or something?
Yeah.
In mid lane, it looks a little weaker, but we saw what Huhi just did with her in the bot lane position. So
yeah,
I think we'll still see Seraphine in the playoffs. I don't think she's hyper broken. I think like we used her in like an insanely good way. I don't think she's hyper broken or like in fact, I feel a little bit dubious about her in mid lane. So, I think she'll be there, but she won't be like a very present pick.
I think she's pretty vulnerable in lane. Right. That's certainly the vibe I got from the Abu game, but also like,
well, that was just kind of a bad game.
but it's like there are plenty of picks you can take in mid lane right now to punish, and then there's not unless you're doing the route, the double cast route. There's not a lot of kind of escape if you're getting camped. So it's a risky pick mid if you want to take it for sure.
Yep. AJ Beck asks, I'm curious if you think the draft versus Team Liquid was a draft the player's favorite or the coach's favorite more. Interesting question.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like the Reaper Classic to me. Although maybe,
big brain draft from the notebook.
Yeah, probably came out of the notebook. It feels hard to me to say that the players would have put it together just because it like the flex picks, the different options we had to actually lock things in. Like
the order seemed calculated.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Who knows? Maybe Abu said, let's lock Seraphine. He'll think I'm going to play it into him. It's possible.
Yeah, especially because I think I was seeing people were considering Seraphine like a counter pick, an Azir counter pick,
Yeah.
And so they first pick Azir, we second pick Seraphine. So it's like, okay, we just counted their mid pick.
Right.
Locking the Wukong for a closer. What's up? And then they're like, okay, cool. Silver Scar. And then we're like, Senna, what you going to do now? Didn't see that one coming. But yeah, it feels like a little more coach than player that we know that they make those decisions together. So
yeah. Andres in chat is saying that Huhi and FBI weren't sure about the matchup, and I heard this somewhere.
Yeah, Huhi admitted that in the Pro to Pro segment with High. So
that's right.
He was like well, I'm not sure if it was. I think they said it was the first time playing into that bot lane. Mm-hmm. Which let me look at the pick and ban order.
Yeah, Jad explained.
Amumu was the last pick from TL, so it could be just that like it's possible that they picked it and then like once they had their matchup, they just misread the matchup, so it wasn't necessarily tied to it. But anyway, I think I still would say it's probably a little more Reaper Magic than player Magic.
I'll give the very concise JLXP summary, which is, this is a particularly fascinating bit of insight from him, which is at the start of the game, the jungler asked, do you have push to all of his lanes? And then they misread that and thought that they would have push and didn't have push. So the pathing probably got screwed up, which led to the early, advantage they got. So I think that's a good call from Andres in chat. I think probably likely that the players didn't pick this one thinking like, okay, we know the game plan,
JC101 says Carolina Reaper take. Ooh, if 100T's coaching staff continue to draft gap our opponents the way they did CLG and TL, then we win summer going 3-0 in every best of 5. So it sounds like JC is on the crockpot train here as long as we get the drafts that we need.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm feeling more confident in our drafts than I have at any point with this team and this staff. I just feel like we are very dynamic, very unpredictable, which is exactly where you want to be going into best ofs.
Yeah.
So I really like that, and I agree. Will we go 3-0 the whole way? I was gonna say there's no chance, but I just saw the Valorant boys doing their magic. Nobody thought that was possible. So
it was nuts.
Who knows?
Your boy Graph says, will LCS eliminate player of the week after showcasing this week that they don't even watch the games before picking? Will everyone pretend to be shocked if 100T win it all? And then finally, will I mauled off the face of the earth? I think that's already happened, that last part.
Yeah.
Your boy Graph is the most vocal opponent of player of the week. I love every week seeing the tweet. The predictive tweet from your boy Graph, the fulfillment of his prediction by LCS, and then the follow-up from your boy Graph. Very big mad about how some of these things go down. And a lot of times deservedly so.
Yeah, he's carrying the burden of that rage for the whole fan community. And you're doing us a service, Graph. We appreciate it. The answer is probably yes. No, they're going to keep doing it because they got that fancy action figure machine. They got to get that thing. You get their money out. They
have to make the investment pay off. Yeah. I think Graph, by the way, was in the camp of Johnson for player of the week this week.
Okay.
So just as a side note. Okay. We got a couple more that tie into, these are all kind of similar takes. So Delfino says 100T will continue to get criminally underrated until they win summer. And you know what, Delfino? I think this take is wrong. I'm sorry. Do you know why it's wrong? Because we will still continue to be criminally underrated after we win summer this year.
Yeah, Cole.
Those will be like, where are LG? CLG.
It'll change once we change the roster, and then the only change will be that people will evaluate us even more lowly. Right? They'll be like, this team is worthless. They've got no chance. That's just, I've accepted it. That's fine.
It just moves in the opposite direction each time, right?
Yeah. There's only one way to go, Cole, and it's down from here with people's expectations of how we'll perform.
Well, Alex Wolfale had a related take. He says 100T needs to win LCS summer and play well at Worlds, and in parentheses, get out of groups, before analysts and other teams give us the respect I feel that we've earned through the past 2 years. Because even at second place, they seem to give others more play with worse results. And it definitely does seem that our respect is a little harder earned. Again, I'm hopeful that has recently kind of turned. I do think getting out of groups for any NA team is a ticket to respect. because it's such like a tall task for our region. And we saw what it did for like C9, you know, when they made the run. It's just really annoying. We've got so many people against us out there making content that it's a big hill to climb. I don't think that we magically earn respect by doing anything this postseason, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the
like, well, I remember they dropped Meteos. They totally sat Cody Sun out at Worlds, man.
Did they really think they're gonna win with Rakara? Come on, guys.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. I will say this. I think that the LCS talent have done a much better job of being excited for our teams during games. It is noticeable and appreciated.
It is.
And they are doing a good job of talking about the fact that we're good, which we are. They were a bit delayed on picking up that storyline, this split, and that's fine. That's fine.
Speaking of, you're leading right into our next take.
Oh, I wasn't even playing
our final take.
But I feel like we got to give credit.
Sure. I do. I saw a difference. Either they did where it's dude.com. At least, you know, they started out heavy in Team Liquid's camp, though. I will just remind you of that. But
yeah.
They did definitely get a little more excited for us this weekend. Rush GG is our final take. His is kind of long, but we like Rush, so we'll just read it. Yeah. Narratives around 100T are quick to form and slow to adapt to the team's current performance. This is like my entire thesis. Do you think behind the scenes content to the team's goals and focus would have helped aligning this throughout the split? This is, again, part of my thesis. I'm noticing we even stopped Instagram story updates on game days, which I didn't notice. Though I know there's been like staff turnover and there's like people covering Valorant. And so that may be just kind of a temporary thing. But yes, maybe something along the lines of what Emily has been saying, comparing us to RNG. Resting players early, then turning it on when it matters could have been good messaging to help assuage the narrative somewhat. And I think like, as I pointed out, the narrative around 100T that is being relayed by analysts and pundits is just like whatever information comes to them. They're not getting out there and being active about how they collect that information. They're not being assertive about getting the story, and they have no help coming from our content side, basically, which in the past they've relied on to, you know, get the narrative. So I do think it actually makes a difference in the way that we're talked about. Ultimately, Darkuth, you can unplug your ears for just this bit. I think ultimately it doesn't matter what they're saying about us. It actually doesn't, because our team seems to like it when they're disrespected. But marketing wise, it sure feels rough. You know what I mean? It's not fun to feel like, I don't know, the team that everybody's rooting against. But at least we're good enough to be hated.
There you go. Yeah. Bad publicity is better than no publicity.
So until the LCS changes something about like how they cover teams, maybe some beat assignments would be cool. Which is never going to happen, by the way. But until something like that changes, I think like they're not going out and getting the stories. They're just kind of talking. It's like that Family Guy joke about Randy Newman singing about what he sees. That's what I think about when I watch the analyst desk. He just sits there singing about what he sees.
Their reaction to what's right in front of them. I think a lot of the time, if you doubt this, going back to Emily, because I think she's had a better read on the team. I think at different points during the split than others have.
Even if her historical record is a little wrong at times, but yes.
Yeah. She said something though that I thought was interesting, which was one of her key points talking about the team now and why it has confidence in them is because of the way they talk about how they're feeling.
Yep.
So for me, that's kind of that tells me everything I need to know. She's looking at what she's hearing from players, both in interviews and conversations behind the scenes, to say this feels different. So that element of her analysis is in no way available to her if she's not having those conversations or hearing about them.
True.
So if all you're doing is watching the games and the results, you don't know that, right? You don't know how the team is thinking, feeling, talking about the games, anything. So I think that does actually give you like that is a point in favor of the extra game narrative is important because it allows somebody like Emily to kind of evaluate, okay, when they trip, how do they react? How are they feeling? What's the vibe? What are they saying? Like you got to have conversations with people outside of the LCS studio to really get that sense. And if we're not putting that content out there, you're relying on somebody actually going out there and getting it.
Yeah.
And that may or may not happen. So.
Right. Well, I won't cross my fingers. I won't hold my breath. I don't think it's changing anytime soon.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll even be beyond talking about it next year.
Yep.
But I doubt it. Okay. Now let's take this thing home, Jordan.
Let's do it.
I'm going to give you your easiest prediction week ever. You ready for this? How do you think 100 Thieves does this weekend, Jordan?
I've been waiting for this question all year. I don't think we lose a single game this weekend.
Wow, undefeated? Because I think we'll go winless.
This is the half empty or half full.
This encapsulates our podcast personalities. Yeah, it's a winless weekend, dude. I'm sorry.
Undefeated through the first weekend of playoffs. Cannot wait, Cole. We are going to absolutely sleep through these games.
Yeah, right. So, of course, we will be taking the winner of FlyQuest and Team Liquid Honda. Let's say the first thing.
That's right. That's we should.
Team Liquid Honda.
Yeah.
Your predictions. How about you say who you think's going to win the round 1 matchup, and then how you think we do against them?
Oh, so we are going to predict ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it in case we don't pod next week.
Yeah. I do think Team Liquid Honda is a very good team. I think even I'm going to do what is so often done to our ire. Even though FlyQuest beat us this weekend and we beat TL, I think TL's a better team. I think they beat FlyQuest. How you like that?
Okay.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that so far?
I'll get to mine.
Okay. I then think, Cole, that we 3-out Team Liquid Honda.
Let's go.
I think we get them with it. I think we're going to sweep them again. We got their number. We know how to beat them.
I love it. Turning Team Liquid Honda into Team Liquid Daewoo. Let's go. Okay.
Yep.
You said 3-0 for Team Liquid?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I think.
against Fly? I don't know. I didn't pick.
No, I said against Team Liquid.
We go 3-0. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I think. I think also that Team Liquid will beat FlyQuest. I don't see that happening. Might even be a stomp. Might even be a 3-0. Mm-hmm. So I think we play Team Liquid. Then I think that we beat Team Liquid 3-1. Okay. Not a clean sweep. I think we 3-1 them. They'll pull something. They'll pull something together. Maybe we'll have a sleepy first game. Who knows? Here's the thing. If FlyQuest somehow magically pulls the victory out over Team Liquid Honda.
Wow. What then?
We will beat FlyQuest.
Okay. Yeah.
But only 3-2. I think it'll be crazy because it's FlyQuest. Whoa. There's a little bit of a thing there. We'll get over it and we'll be fine. But I think it'll be a dicier run, even though I think Team Liquid's the better team. Matchup wise, there's something there against us. And I think, did you see Closer talk about the Team Liquid game before it happened?
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa. That dude has had enough of Team Liquid. He's like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We own them.
I don't know what reality they're
he said something like that. Like, we own them. And he's absolutely right in every way recently. So, it would take a big revenge for Team Liquid Honda to do that. And I just can't see it, even though I do think they're relatively good. So that's a weird prediction, and I'm fine if you want to flame me for that prediction. Do your worst. I don't care. It's just for whatever reason, like we're taking longer to figure out FlyQuest. That's all it is. But we will.
Yeah.
All right. So there we have it. Both of us think we secure Worlds with a win in that series 2 weeks from now.
That would do it. Yeah.
Hopefully the rest is good to us and not bad to us. Bye weeks can sometimes be not super great, but having time to prepare.
Yeah.
I have really big faith in our preparation. Our staff will prepare us.
I expect we get some rest and we get some good prep time. I think we're in good shape.
That's right. Well, we will look to be in good shape when that happens, but we will watch this upcoming weekend from the lazy comfort of our couches and with our feet up and no worries in the world because we're winning it all this off season. Can't wait.
I'm rooting for the FlyQuest boys.
Flight check crew, get the job done.
Crew. I always want to call the team Flight Check. It takes me a second to. Yeah,
they're becoming synonymous, just like people call us the 100T Pod, 100 Thieves podcast. The Dive referred to us as the 100 Thieves podcast. Name which one? It's like, Courage and Nate Shot Show tweeted about it. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. We've been on for so long.
Rooting for them. It's time to go.
Yeah, it is definitely time to go.
It'll be a good time. Yeah.
All right. Make sure to visit givingawaythatyummyfreecredit.com and don't you dare use code UnderTalkPod. Everybody, we will see you. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a pod on Monday. We'll see you this Thursday for Rec League, though. So we'll see you then. And we'll go from there. So as always, we love you and we miss you already.